Hi there, real quick, before I take you to the property and show you the process that I went through to build this trail, I just want to say up front, this isn't a step-by-step how-to. This is what I tried, this is what didn't work, this is why it didn't work, this is what I tried, and eventually this is what worked. So if you're just looking for a quick 5-minute tutorial on how to do it, this probably isn't for you. This is more for the process and to get to know me. I'd like to build more of a community here on YouTube, so sit back, enjoy the process of watching me, and hopefully you can learn and maybe do the same thing or take some of the lessons I learned on your own property. Thanks for watching. A bit of a deer trail heading down the hill here. It's very steep here. There was branches and stuff overgrowing it, but I thought, oh, this would be a fun spot to have another path that goes down the hill. So I just started digging into the hill a little bit, trying to create not quite so steep of a path. I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't know how to build with mostly round rocks, but trying to dig out some flatter areas and then supplement it with rocks to lead down, down there to a flat area. But one thing we have lots and lots and lots of here is round, not very flat river rock. They're from that size up to some very large boulders. I assume that means because this was a river at one point in time and the creek has just moved down the hill over the years. But yeah, I don't know. So I have lots and lots of roundish rocks. So I want to learn how to build things with those, take advantage of those. And my first goal, my first project was this path, making some steps. So the challenge is, and I don't know, it's so steep right here, especially, well, all the way down, it's so steep. So I need to create stair steps of some kind. So I've just been trying to cut kind of a drop down straight edge and then put some rocks against that straight vertical side, bring some dirt from somewhere else to kind of create a flat area and then do it again. And that worked pretty well up there where it wasn't so steep, but being so steep here, it's hard for me to get, it's hard for me to make that work. And I don't want people to step on a rock and then have it slide out. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid is going to happen. It's going to slide out. As you can see, watching this clip here, it's just a lot of guess and check. I was trying to smooth stuff out. I brought in more rocks. I brought bigger rocks in. I brought a bucket of smaller rocks. And it really was not working. I don't know. And then what? So I go back to trying to figure out what I'm doing. I end up with deciding I'm just going to go watch some YouTube videos and try to figure it out. Okay, I'm back. I'm regrouped here. So after extensive research on YouTube, which means spending about 2 minutes looking at shorts and thumbnail images of people's paths, I don't know if there's a way to do what I'm trying to do with the rocks I'm trying to do it. Everything I was seeing was either flagstones, like I said, big flat rocks, or 4x4 framing, creating steps. There was one where they were using logs, so I liked that idea. I think they took a log, they cut the top of the round off so that it created a flat step. I'm still not sure about this area to do that in on this trail because the dirt is so soft when I dig it up. It's not like I'm digging into solid dirt. It's very soft, and so I still don't know how I would secure those steps where they wouldn't just roll on down the mountain without bringing a lot more dirt, which I possibly could do. So then the other alternative is to do more switchback type idea. Kind of hate to spend all the time going out 20 feet just to find out it doesn't work, but I don't know of any other alternatives. So I think I'm going to head this way while keeping a downward trajectory, and then cut back and then go back through here, maybe trying to get all the way down to there, which is, I don't know, 30 feet down maybe. I just saw, well, I knew I had them. I have some rounds cut from a log for some firewood. I'm going to try to bring one down and put that right here. So that kind of becomes, I still don't know how I'm going to secure it, but if I bring that down, that might be a nice good base to where the path switches. And then if that works, then when I switch it again over there, I could bring a second one on. Okay, that's another thing I plan on starting, is a collection of the animals and the plants that are here, by pictures or collecting. Like, I think it'd be cool to have a bug collection, because there's lots of cool bees and butterflies and moths that I see. Put them in a display to show the variety of life that is on this property. I think that'd be cool. And then for like birds, capture them in pictures and create like a feature wall inside or outside. I think that'd be fun. One thing that is nice about this property is the things that do grow, they really grow. They really grow. We get so much water here during the winter, so much rain. And some of these plants really like this loose draining soil. I think trees grow really well here because of that. So for a little while here, I thought that this was going to work well. It seemed like I was going to be able to make some kind of steps here. Bring that big round of wood down and see what happens. I think I was getting tired, so here in the next couple seconds, I'm going to start talking about rocks. Enjoy. I mean, they're just, these round rocks are everywhere, and I just can't, it's hard for me to imagine that this is because the creek, which is down there, and there's, I mean, you'll see it later, it's all rocks, round rocks like this, you know, from this size to this size, lots of, so there's tons of rocks. So it's not, I can imagine that a creek would make all these rocks. It's just amazing to me to think that, again, I don't know how much higher I am here than where the creek is. I think it's like 75 feet difference in elevation, and I mean, I don't know, 2,000 feet maybe, from where it is now to where the cabin is. And so it's hard for me to imagine that the water could move, that the creek ran all the way through here at different points in time over history. But maybe that's why there's a flat spot down here. Maybe it came down, and then that was where the creek ran for a while, and then it went down again, and that was where, so maybe that's why it does that. Anyway, I'd like to do a little more research to figure that out. I believe the earth is probably only like 10,000 years old, but even still, I suppose the water could definitely move that far in 10,000 years. This little switchback idea, it wasn't going to work. The ground was too soft. I still had to go really steep. I was going to end up making this path 2 or 3 times as long, so it just didn't make sense to go that way. But after I saw how solid that first round was going to be, I decided to keep going down the hill, straight down the hill, with an additional round, and see how that could work. It seemed to work pretty well. It gave me a nice solid base to work off of, and I could use the dirt in between as I was digging down. Well, here's a good start to my day. Back at the property, hopped on my tractor, tried to record it, heading down the hill to cut up some of these logs to continue on the path. I forgot to push record, which wasn't that big of a deal, and then I realized I left my stand, my tripod, up the hill. But then as I went back up the hill, I realized I didn't forget it. I actually had put it in the bucket. It had fallen out and broken because I ran over it with my tractor that I forgot to record driving. Anyway, all right, let's see what I can do. All right. Now, I'm going to try to use this as a step. Instead of having the big wide ones, I can get a lot more out of these steps. Although the big wide ones might be important for getting down the hill. So I'll do a couple of each. All right, well, that's as far as I could get with the chainsaw. It worked for a while, then it quit again. Not sure what the deal is, but I got a few steps. I'm gonna load up in the tractor, take them up the hill, and then start bringing them down the trail. All right, update on the steep slope trail. I gotta figure out something else to call that. So, got the rounds that I was able to cut over, started to bring them down, and then of course one proceeded to roll all the way down the hill. How the day's going. Short answer is this works really well. That it provides a nice way to get down with the various heights. The chunks of wood work. Like up there, you see I have a real thin one next to a big one. A big one next to a thin one. For the most part, though, they need to be thicker because this is so steep. The problem with the thin one is I need more dirt to bring it up high enough so there's not a big step from one to the other. And so it's much easier to have these pieces that are more like a foot, which makes sense because a step is like 9 or 10 inches. Then I don't have to have a ton of dirt down here for the next step. I just kind of level out the spot and set it down. They're pretty stable. The ground is soft from the digging, so I'll have to work on probably bringing in more just rock or dirt, maybe dig some dirt from off the side and fill it in a little more. I think that will be better. But for a cheap solution, which is what I wanted, and a natural solution, which is what I wanted, and a solution which I am able to accomplish myself, which is what I wanted, this is working pretty well. I'd like to take a moment and say if you've made it this far in the video, thank you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more progress on this property, I encourage you to subscribe. If not, just like the video or comment. You know, show me something that what I'm doing is providing something of value to you. I am new to YouTube, and my goal is to make videos that are true to life, but also not wasting people's time. So I'm working on my shots, I'm working on my clips, keeping them not too long, too short, showing the progress, and ultimately building a community of people who are interested in what I'm doing. Feel free to leave a comment telling me who you are, where you're from, what kind of projects you guys are working on too, why you are watching these videos. Yeah, just let's have some conversation. It never ceases to amaze me how often I forget to just stop and pause and look around. I get so focused on whatever it is I'm doing at the time that I forget about the peace and the quiet and the beauty that is around me all the time. Whew, okay. End of day, I don't know if there's 3 or 4 of the path. It's a lot of work. It's working pretty well. Here, let me show you. All right, remember just a week and a half ago, this was barely a deer trail, and it looked, like that. It was inaccessible. And I've been here about, I can't remember now, 3 or 4 days. I can only work an hour or so at a time on it because I'm here to clean the cabin between guests. Started with just dirt and trying to make the rock work. That just wasn't going to work on this steep of a slope. Started using wood rounds. These are working really well. They're easy to place. I mean, relatively easy. They're free. They're free. They're replaceable if they start to rot out. I'll need to put some more dirt around them because some of them are a little still precarious. But they're definitely doable. I think I'll put one more here and then levels out. I learned that it was nice to have different sizes of these. I had some smaller ones, but most of the time they needed to be bigger, simply because it's so steep, and I just didn't have the dirt to build them up. But there's a couple spots where smaller ended up being nicer, where I didn't need that much depth, like right here. So have multiple sizes was handy. Most of these are probably between 12 and, I don't know, 16 inches. So I was about 85-90% of the way done with this trail. I needed to add a few more rounds, but I had some dirt that was available because I started digging out the pond, which you'll see in another video. And so I took some of this dirt in buckets and started carrying it down the hill to fill in around those stumps to give them more, because right now a lot of them are just sitting on top of the dirt. And so I was hoping that by surrounding it with this other loose dirt, it will start to settle in, and especially as it rains and the ground gets softer, it'll pack in around these rounds and make them overall more stable. Remember how I said this was a deer trail? Well, they haven't stopped using it. And so just one bucket at a time, I filled them up, carried them over with the tractor, carried them down the hill, and started dumping them around the steps. It wasn't perfect, but it was definitely making a big difference. And again, this was free stuff. The whole goal that I'm really trying to accomplish with this project is to use the property as much as possible. Use the features of the property as much as possible. Not bring in extra things that I have to buy or that don't belong here. So I've got another couple of days of just piddling around with this trail to finish it up. But for the most part, I'm done, and I thank you for watching.